Hello Internet! I'm HamsterBomb and you guys are going to be joining me looking through in-depth everything that we know and have seen about Monster Hunter World. There's so much news and so much that has just hit us recently, just yesterday, and there's so much to look at. I've gone through the entire trailer now and picked out a ton of screenshots of things that, even after watching the trailer 3 times, things that I was missing, or, really interesting things that are going to tell us about how this game might actually play. Because it seems very different from Monster Hunter games past, in a good way, in my opinion. I'm so thrilled about this. If you saw my initial reaction yesterday, I've been so excited to get to this point so we can talk about this today. In terms of initial news, quick things I want to tell you guys that have been announced, in addition to the trailer that came out. We do know that this is going to be coming out on PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One, as well as PC. But the PC release will come a little after the PS4 and the Xbox One release. So that's unfortunate, but still, it will be coming to PC. So for those of you guys like me who don't own either of those consoles, we will still be able to play it on PC, which arguably is probably a better way to play most games anyway. So aside from that, there's a lot of really cool stuff that has been brought up that Capcom has personally released to us, saying specifically this is going to be the first Monster Hunter game they have ever released that will actually be a worldwide release on the same day, and on top of that, Japan and the West, for the first time, will be able to interact together and play with each other in one game, cross-platforms, cross-region. That is unbelievable. That's incredible news. I don't even know how to go about trying to script something like that. That's insane. That's insane. There's so much work that's been put into just getting that to happen. It's unbelievable. So right now, before we get into the actual trailers for the game, screenshots, I have a couple shots that have been promotional and released already from the game. I gotta say, just taking a look at this, because we have already seen this. This is actually from the trailer itself. We were going to be taking more looks at in-depth things like this later. But, taking a look at this shot here, which is more than likely the cover art that we've already seen released for the game, because we're seeing it on covers for the PS4 and the Xbox One screen. This is really showing off, for one, Rathalos, which is really amazing because he's been redesigned. And almost all of the monsters we've seen, very slight, but they have been redesigned. We'll see more details of how they look with some examples that I've gotten the screenshots coming later. But here we can see several different hunters. And there's some specific new gear that they are using that is different from normal, especially this crossbow that is on the Blade Master's left arm. So you can see it is not on the bow user's left arm, but there is a crossbow-like tool, let's say, not a weapon, I think, on the Blade Master's left hand. You can see it right here, this thing. Then it's not here. That's pretty cool. However, the hammer user over here, we can't quite see because they're kind of facing the other direction. We can also see from this area being so vast out here. This area is called New World. I know, kind of a lame title from what I've heard from it, but still, there's probably more to it than that. Apparently, there's this new continent that has been discovered in the Monster Hunter world, and your character is basically sent out on, expeditions into it, which is so exciting. It's so exciting. Now, I'm kind of curious out here in the distance. You can see this is like a mountainous region as opposed to the more of a deep jungle area that we see throughout the main trailer. This could be implying that the entire continent is connected through the different areas, possibly giving us a volcano, a tundra, different varying area ideas. Or we don't know yet if they are going to be instantly transportable, if we're just going to poof be in the nuke area when we change areas. Which, as we see in one of the very first things, is extra promotional material. It ended up being kind of tiny. Moving through areas has been completely reworked, and we will take a look at how that works later. But the entire game has been rethought, which is brilliant. And I applaud Capcom so much for all the work that has gone into just what they have shown us in this trailer. It's unbelievable. And in this shot, I wanted to particularly bring this up before the trailer, because this was actually shown in E3, but in the main trailer it is not there. So there's some things that I am not quite going to be able to show, though this is an instance showing how a downed Aptonoth could be shown as a clue in tracking a monster, is what I'm taking from this image here. But anyway, let's move on forward. We have another bit of promotional material. I don't think this one is actually going to be used for the main cover. I think it's going to be that other one we've seen. But still, yes, you can kind of see a bit of Rathalos looks a little different. His face is slightly different. We can also see through the wings, almost like a fabric-like fold in how they work later. It looks crazy. We got better shots coming later. Now, here we go. At the beginning of the trailer, as you can see right here, obviously it just starts up saying Capcom presents, and the first thing we see the hunter doing in either of the versions is basically walking out of this beautiful, lush jungle area that is open, completely open. Now, from here, we obviously want to take a look at things in the background. There's going to be a lot of really interesting things that you guys may spot. Let me know down in the comments if you think you've spotted things that I haven't seen, but for this one, I'm going to try my best to pay close attention and fine-tune this. So from here, the hunter obviously just kind of keeps walking forward, but reaches the point where they need to change areas. Now, there are no loading screens in this game, from what Capcom has told us, so from here, you're actually going to be navigating by pushing through, in this example in the jungle, different branches and stuff to actually move to the next area, or arena as they call it. So each area is more of an arena for the monsters, so the hunter isn't 100% locked away, you know, from a monster as they move areas, but you're not going to be able to ditch out, sharpen, heal, you know, do things that we all kind of technically, we kind of cheated our way through the monsters before. Also, monsters aren't going to be able to just walk up to the side of an area and poof, disappear, and then be in the next one over. That's not happening anymore. We will see later, they will very violently get from one area to another. They'll find a way. So moving into this next area, they then zoom in a bit to show us a little bit of what this area looks like. And I gotta show you guys a few things, because there's some pretty interesting things in here. For one, we have some vines kind of hanging down from here. It is possible, because we see a grapple being used later, and more on that, we will see better shots of it, that this could identify different points where you can grapple, or maybe anything above you could be grappled to. I don't know yet. But this looks like a roundabout tree area where you can kind of like climb down and underneath this. This looks like it goes down deeper. Lots of climbing, kind of implemented from 4, but not enough to where it's like an obscene amount. This looks like it exists, as opposed to some areas in 4 are more like pushing the new climbing mechanic at the time to its extreme, and there was so much climbing. This is more like climbing when the hunter feels they need to, and I think that's a perfect amount of it too. We'll be able to climb up this tree here. There's, like I said, there's a lot of different instances, I think, of where this may be able to take you to new areas or arenas, because it's all intertwined into one large thing. Very interesting. From here, this was another shot that we got, taking a look at, I'm gonna move that, taking a look at a different part of the jungle. We still don't see the hunter in here yet, but we did see some bugs kind of flying around. They weren't exactly Bonabras or Vespoids or things we've seen in the past. So these, whatever they are new, or they're just there, not actually a small monster. This could actually be a hint right here. It's showing how to track a hunter, or a hunt, if you've seen this, because this time around, Monster Hunter really wants to emphasize the tracking of a real hunt, what a hunt would really be like in the world of Monster Hunter. It's I don't know, a brilliant redesign, I'm thinking, of things that it's very welcome. I don't want to get into showering it with praise already, because obviously we haven't even played the game. I'm just enthralled with the idea, so I'm sorry if I get a little too off topic, but still, the cracked tree here, since it's actually exposing, I think, a fresh color on the inside, it hasn't been broken long, which means this could actually tell you there is a monster in this direction that you could be trying to trail, and based on things like footprints, the hunter is able to trail them better. Now, this is pretty cool. So then we were able to look up, possibly through those same trees we were in before, I'm not sure, but from here we can see there is possibly a Remobra, or something new, similar to a Remobra, like an amphitheater-like style wyvern, flying up here, a very small wyvern. We'll see them later. They're just a little larger than the humans, like about 2 to 3 times size. They're not a large monster per se, as we know from the past. So from here, it's possible maybe we'll be able to climb up these vines in order to get to a higher area up in here. But that's kind of what I'm gathering from this. It's also, I gotta say, what's amazing from just this shot, we can see how the light is reacting to the Remobra. I'm just gonna call it these Remobras for the rest of the video until we know otherwise. The light is actually not just illuminating them, it's almost like, I don't know, because I know light in video games is incredibly difficult and strenuous on your hardware to render constantly, but as this amphitheater moves, let me see if I get another shot, I do not, okay. As it moves, you could see that the shadows cast from the tree are moving against where the Remobra is, which means that light is actually being cast in the game. It looks amazing how much detail is just put into stuff like this. It looks so real, it's incredible. We got better shots at it later. It was just a great initial shot of it. Now, from there, we see the hunter now still progressing through the woods. And this is a really important shot I wanted to show you guys because, for one, I think this is an isolated herb, possibly, or some plants that you can gather. It looks very different from the others. It is lit up a bit. There's also, in motion, some little bugs that are kind of flying around it right here. Also, I want to point out, very briefly during this shot, and I got it here, you see this monster in the distance. And this monster is very different. Maybe you can still see my mouse here. It's very, very different than the Remobra. For one, it's actually like a pinkish purple kind of color right here. And on the wings, they're actually a bright green and show feathers. It's very different, looks very interesting, though it does have back legs as well as the feathers up here in the front. So really cool. I love that design, looks so cool, but that could be a small monster. It also could be a large monster because, as I've found in other shots, there are large monsters in the background sometimes throughout this. So really keep your eyes open for things like this, guys. Throughout these pictures, there's a lot of hidden things. So from here, other than that, I think this is more of like a narrow hallway area to progress through the woods. Now, what I was so amazed about, and this is probably just another area transition thing, swimming is back. Oh, thank God. So please, yeah, if there are any other water monsters appear, no longer will they be going into that water where your hunter is too scared to go in. No, we are able to swim finally. And also, there's some treacherous things that the water can cause. We'll see later in some more screenshots. But, man, look at the effects of the water. Beautiful. And aside from the fact that it's actually being warped as we're looking through it, that is incredible water effects. This looks so good. It looks so good. Aside from the fact that Hunter is actually wet when they emerged from the water, too. Now, the shots here were going by very quickly. I wanted to stop here and show you guys this one. Aside from the fact that the focus is changing, the dandelions is what they kind of look like, are incredible filling this area here. But what this is actually showcasing, it's hard to see, but the hunter right here shot something with that crossbow. You couldn't really tell it was a crossbow just yet because of the angle here. You can't see it at all. But this thing right here, that is actually the ammunition. So it could be some sort of fruit or something like that, but as you can see, it will get closer, and right there is when it hits this object, which was some sort of berry, or possibly, I'm thinking it's even possible it is a hive of some sort that is knocked something loose and dropped it to the ground. You can see the same object right there, boom, falling now to the ground where it shatters. Do I have a shot of shattering? No, I don't. Okay, so I think it immediately as it hit toward the ground, it left. So as this thing drops, and from here on through the trailer, the hunter is now accompanied by insects. I'm just gonna say they're lightning bug-like small creatures that kind of follow you around and help you out. Now, it's possible that this is completely unrelated to the shots later with the insects, but from here before, there were no insects helping you. So it's possible to believe that that is what this is. If not, that may be a new creative way to gather items that are growing higher up that you couldn't reach, and you actually have to shoot them down with your mini crossbow. And the bow gunners would not need this because they can already shoot. So that could really be enlightening the whole area, like bringing everything forward. That could be a really cool implementation to the world, you know? The world building is now huge. So from this point on, let's just say we now have these weird lightning bug things that are helping us on our journey, and they seem to be acting like a new sort of, I'm thinking this could be a redesign of the paintball, rethinking how a psycho serum works. You know, maybe the hunter, because they really want you to get in tune with nature. Originally, in the first Monster Hunter game, they had an idea of how the hunter was gonna, you know, partner up with like an insect and fight with, you know, nature, get closer to nature, because that was the whole source of the idea of the game. And eventually that did come back in the 4th generation with the insect glaive. And I'm thinking this is them trying to tap deeper into that, where the hunter is really in tune with nature and using everything out there to help you find monsters and help you defeat monsters. So from here we can see these bugs are actually illuminating a footprint made by the large monster that we're going to be seeing later. I believe its name was like Ajanoth or something like that. I'm trying my best to pronounce it properly. It may be the first monster that we have pronounced the same way Japan and America, because it's a cross-region game, which is crazy. Gotta even say in here, we are half walking through water, which the effects of the water are amazing here alone. But the way the bugs act, and I want to point this out, is different because they will immediately scatter off of something. Either maybe there's some sort of user interface where the hunter acknowledges this, or more of the bugs go to close things in proximity to point things out to you. Maybe they're only temporarily here to assist you, like I said, if maybe in this past shot, if that was a hive, maybe, you know, something like that. A way to call on these bugs to get their assistance, because they seem very helpful in pointing out what may have been very secretive, making it very obvious, right? To show where the hunt is progressing to. We can also see there's possible mushrooms that could be gathered back here. I'm not sure what to identify that as back there in the distance, but also looks like it could be a gathering point. Also, I want to point out there's multiple avenues of how to enter and exit areas, even small caves. They seem to be very, very open with how the whole world is connected, especially with how the trailer ends, where it zooms back through the whole way. If you know, I couldn't even shoot screenshots from that, but there's quite a lot to it. This here was a very short cut that came immediately after that, where the hunter is running away from some new small monsters, and I say small loosely. These things are pretty large, but we can tell they're not a huge monster. Also, note there's more of these berries up here in the tree in the distance, so that is a thing. Whatever these things are, you are going to be able to call on them. But note, what interesting thing happened as the hunter was running away from them, as you can kind of see a little bit of the red here. A bunch of those insects started glowing around the hunter, and that was basically it. It cut immediately after that. So what does that mean? You know, like, I don't even know what to make of that one yet. This is also a different color of the bug. This, I don't know, may have something to do with like a stamina recovery thing. Maybe the bugs actually assist you in other ways other than just finding things. I'm not sure, but all we can tell from this is the bugs are there, if they are bugs, and they're certainly doing something, and I don't know what it is. It's very questionable. But other than that, yes, these guys are still in hot pursuit, and from this point, this is a great series of shots that shows what this crossbow can do, and there's quite a lot of cool things that it can do. So for one, we can get a really good shot of these new creatures. No idea what these guys are named just yet. Man, like, I like to look at the talons. These things almost look like Ludroths, but combined with, like, I don't know, like raptors, like with wolf mentality, and they really do have like a pack mentality. As you see how they react to this, what's about to happen right here. So the hunter is actually readying the crossbow, fires it right there. There's the gunpowder, and this is the ammunition that has just been shot. And right there, it shoots, and it hits the ground, and ignites, kind of bounces up right there before really detonating. And you can see how they all act. All of them are collected together, almost like there seriously is some sort of pack mentality here, where they know, you know, like there's a group. Like, I feel like they would actually act differently if there was only one after you actually hunted and took out, you know, the other, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and you were just left with this one back here. He would probably act different, maybe even run from you. Who knows? Because there's just so much of how they acted right here that implies the ecology has been so well thought out, and using this as a manner of escape alone is pretty brilliant. Now, running from this a little bit farther, we get a little clearer here. You can see how they're acting to this, you know, backing up and trying to avoid the fire, giving the hunter a means of escape from this very large group of small monsters, which really would overwhelm you. And it's really smart, I say, that they have even thought that far into it, to where small monsters are not just, you know, completely ignorable anymore, or their only use to really bother a hunter anymore is a Rathalos or a Bullfango sidewinding you as you were trying to hunt a monster. And really, that's more of an annoyance. I think this is bigger than just an annoyance. These aren't really here to be an annoyance. I think these are here to be a threat, which is honestly what they should be. So moving on forward to the next frame, you can actually see the hunter pulling something out of the side of probably one of their pouches here, and what they do is they immediately load it back into the arm shots, the crossbow. And what I think is interesting about that is, think of like how the bow gun works, and we get some shots of how a bow gun works later, but you're never able to shoot something, or even like, for example, throw a paintball, sonic bomb, flash bomb, anything without also moving. He does it by aiming behind him and keeps running and loads it while he's moving. Think about all of what happened in that very short shot and of assumed gameplay. That is so game-changing. That's incredible, which means probably all those dreaded animations we're all sick of and getting killed by they're probably gone. I would certainly hope, but they're probably gone at this point. I mean, come on, we've had those same animations since the PS2 version of this game. Could we please now have better versions? I think they finally fixed it up. Now you can see these creatures still kind of acting with each other, like wondering like, oh gosh, shoot, what was that thing? What was that? You know, and they seem so primal in the sense that the hunter seriously like kind of fooled them for the moment, and it's working just enough time to get away. And from there we get a very short cut showing them in an area of the jungle. And this is actually such a short cut, we actually don't even see anything more to it than that. It's gone immediately. We really just see these new creatures in the jungle. And from here, this is a really, really interesting segment here where the hunter actually is gathering something. I have theories on what this could be later from the walls and actually scraping what is here, possibly some sort of monster saliva, or I'm not even entirely sure what it could possibly be. There's so many things that this could be. Maybe tree sap, maybe dripped honey from a possible hive above. I don't know, but the bugs are all over it, showing you that it is something to gather. He scrapes off this goop with the knife and then puts it into like a bottle-like container, and immediately after that I wanted to show the bugs flash are now off of this thing. So the bug system, UI system, I'm not sure how it works, but there it is happening again. Also, this is a totally different color than this over here, so who knows what this really is, this stuff that the hunter wanted to gather, but you can see it has been put into this container and put now back in with the rest of the hunter's inventory, where the bugs then, I guess, scatter to go find something else for the hunter to gather or pay attention to, which is really interesting. I'm not sure what this is. I keep looking at this, like, that's an interesting spot over there. Not sure what to take of that. There's also something very strange out there in the corner I'm just now seeing. I can barely identify it. But this is a thick substance, possibly monster saliva. I'm not sure, but even still, really cool segment here. Kind of hard to see with the motion, but still, the hunter was then swinging from vine to vine, and the bugs were actually moving to the next vine in order to show the hunter or lead them on their journey of where they were going. You see the hunter swings from one, the bugs are already one step ahead, right? Then from this point, this is basically where everything gets crazy, and we start seeing this new monster, which looks so real. I love this thing. And I gotta say already, like, how they didn't go over the top just with the ordinary tail here. And, like, immediately I saw this and I was like, oh, thank you. Oh, I love the designs because they're so real. It really feels like they have planted you into this world that truly exists. And how do you survive in this world? It's like my Monster Hunter fantasy dream come true, but I don't want to get into that. I'm sorry, I keep doing it. So from this point, we can see the hunter is now crawling up behind the monster. The monster is unsuspecting. I want you to pay attention over here as well. There's another footprint that we're going to see emerging right there. The bugs are trying to identify it for the hunter as the hunter is now approaching this new monster from behind. Oh, geez, the meat and the power of this thing just looks terrifying. Some shots we're going to get at this thing later are just going to be terrifying. Also, keep an eye out in the background, guys. Like I said, I could be missing things. Like, I can't really identify what that is back there. I can tell you at one point later, I did find there is a Rathalos flying in the background in one of the shots. We will see it. I will point it out to you later when we get to it. But for now, the hunter then not only continues to pursue, but pulls something, an item out, which is a cloak of some sort covered in leaves. Now, I had a theory. I'm going to show you more of the covering of the cloak right here, very slowly, because it's kind of thrown on top of the body of the hunter, which then covers up your armor. As you see, the bugs are also that whole time swarming around the footprint to identify, continue, even with the monster right here, where the next step is to follow and try and find this monster. So with this covered, I was thinking it's possible that if we go back to remember when the hunter had slathered up this new item of some sort, if this is relating to the monster, maybe using this from the monster, maybe it's their saliva, maybe some sort of waste from the monster, ew, but if it is, that could be used to put on your cloak to then disguise the scent of the hunter, which shows how the monster was completely fooled when the hunter was standing right in front of the monster while wearing this. Hopefully there's more to it than that, and it's not just like, well, I put this disguise on and they didn't see me. Because the hunter also had to move very, very slowly and hold still practically while the monster was drooling and looking right at him. So now we get a really good view of this monster. He looks so incredible, like I said, like an Anjanath, I believe he was called. This part here in the nose, also, you guys probably noticed, flares up and comes out. This could be to identify either a rage mode of the monster, or it's very possible that this is just how the monster's ecology works. That's how it smells. It has a heightened sense of smell when it opens this up. The thought in the ecology here, I just think is so brilliant. The fur on the creature as well is really well done. He reminds me a bit of a Devil Joe with the teeth on the jaw as well. I really love the brute wyvern style of this thing, but the new design, it looks so natural and carnal. It's just amazing. And also, I love how this thing really puts fear into your hunter as you fight through this. Now, I want to point out before we move on, take a good look at this. Now you get a good shot of that crossbow. Now we can actually identify it is a crossbow, probably made from monster parts. I'm not sure if these things are like a staple that the hunters always have. Maybe you bring it with you. It could be a great sword exclusive. I kind of doubt that, though, because of how it seemed that to even gather certain items, you need to be able to shoot higher, which I think is why the Blade Masters now have these. But this actually looks like some sort of fruit. I'm not exactly sure what it could be of what you are shooting, but for sure we can tell from just this trailer you have multiple kinds of ammunition for these things. So from here, the monster actually completely misses the hunter and storms on forward. We get a really good shot, taking a look at all the details of the scales and the fur here as it's running by. Way out in the distance, this all seems to be open world too. It's amazing. From here, the monster goes a little bit further, and the hunter has been avoided entirely, which is, in their case, good. So from here, they have worked their way up to a ledge and got a really good opportunity to jump onto the monster, who still does not see the hunter, whips out their greatsword and smacks him right in the face. And from here, the hunter then starts an immediate mount. Similar to how we had mounts in the 4th gen, I kind of think, as this is, if anyone's really going to argue, this is Monster Hunter 5th gen. From here, they are now jumping on top of the monster, but attacking differently. As you can see, holy cow, the width of that jaw is unreal. The hunter is not actually grabbing onto, typically jumping onto a set point of the monster and stabbing with dual blades. That's not happening anymore. Now the hunter is actually where they jumped. Also note, the Aptonauts in the background are going to be fleeing the scene as soon as the hunter is now in fight with the monster. So from here, the hunter's leg is getting really close to this monster's mouth, and sheesh, little worried there. Immediately from here, we get a cut. And at this point, we now, instead of being on the head of the monster, the hunter is now in a more traditional place while mounting on the back of the monster. Not really sure what to take from that. I mean, I was kind of like, okay, hopefully we can mount from anywhere or kind of attack from anywhere, but mounting itself is still gonna be back. We can kind of see it right here. And what this is happening right here in the corner, we flash to this point with the red. What the hunter is, the hunter's about to be flung, and the monster is actually attacking this tree, trying to get the hunter off. And you can see right here, boom, the tree goes down right away. But I want to point out the monster's now under here. This was kind of a strange drop. The camera shifted sides. This right here, this canopy that was up inside of the tree, is gonna fall on the monster and act as some sort of a trap, hindering it down to the ground. Now watch this. The hunter is being flung off of the monster, still falling, but they're going to shoot with their grappling hook mid-air. Right there, you see that line? That line right there. As the monster is now stuck in the trap, the hunter shoots the monster with the grappling hook. There we go. And yanks himself back towards the monster, down the tree next to him, to continue the mount. Unreal. If the mount is even being continued, I don't even know. Maybe it's better to do close-up damage while actually hanging onto a monster now, because from what Capcom has told us, you actually do damage to monsters instead of just building up a mounting tolerance and knocking them over so you can attack them. No, you're actually attacking them this way. And from what I've seen later in some other shots, I think it's the only way to even damage certain monster parts or get a better opportunity to. We can also see out here in the distance, this direction, a new different area, like near a beach, in a rocky beach area. that looks really interesting. There's probably certain kinds of creatures you can find in specific areas of the map here, but either way, from this point we move to almost a more traditional version of how we see a monster while it is being mounted. Also more shots of the water areas out here, which implies that we will probably be able to going out into the water again. Who knows? I am just assuming you can because this area is just designed so closely with it. And we were swimming earlier. Who knows? Maybe we're actually going to get a traditional Lagiacrus or Goble or Royal Ludroth coming back. Plesioth back in the water like I mentioned. Who knows yet? Because all we know, released for certain monsters in this game, are very few that we have seen in this trailer. So from this point, the monster is struggling, trying to get loose. And then from there, we cut. Now from here, the monster is trying to stand back up again. And the hunter looks like they're wearing what was that cloak, but all of the leaves have fallen off. So maybe the disguise has been ruined. And so as the monster is standing back up again, oh god, so close, the hunter is now discarding the disguise, and from there, a chase ensues. And it's interesting to point out, pay attention to how the Anjanath actually reveals wings that come out of the back. I don't think these wings are actually for flying. These look more like a threatening tactic, you know, or something just to scare off a hunter, not so much for actual flight. So it's almost like this creature's in the middle of evolution, changing, you know, how it once was maybe a bird wyvern and is now becoming a land-based creature, or vice versa. Very interesting how this thing is evolving, and we're like caught in the middle of how it is transitioning. You know what I mean? Not mid-game, but I mean like in its terms of evolution, in history. There's so much thought put into it, it's amazing. So from here we can see the hunter is probably trying to change arenas, not areas, arenas, and is more than likely trying to escape the monster that is now out of its trap. The jig is up, this thing's coming after you. And the monster, possibly as a tell to enter rage mode, has opened up these frills. I kind of want to say they're called them frills as opposed to wings, because they're not used as wings, and they open forward, you know, more of like an intimidation kind of thing. So the hunter is actually running and jumping over logs that were blocking off one arena to another, of which the monster destroys, wings still out, in order to smash through everything and pursue the hunter. So you're never really safe. And almost look at this. I believe this is almost glowing red a little bit here. I'm not entirely sure. Also, don't know what this is right here, kind of glowing red. This is another thing that I missed that Kim pointed out to me. Pay attention to how the hunter actually now has a bottle. Check this out. A bottle holding a bright green color. This could be potions or items, but we actually think this could be a bottle of the insects. And the hunter could be gathering certain things like, you know, maybe the things that were scraping off the wall before was honey or something to feed the insects to keep them with you and keep them obeying you and assisting you. That could be what this is right here, because it is still illuminated in the dark room. Now, as it's pursuing, we kind of see it here, and also the light reflecting off the armor looks amazing. The monster has now busted through the area and is still pursuing the hunter. Now from here, the Anjanath is blasting some fire behind the hunter. I gotta say, fire acts so much cooler in this game, as opposed to like a fire orb that is shot out of a Rathalos or Rath, you know, just a ball of fire. This actually looks like fire. Flames are really emerging out of this thing. It's unreal. So the hunter from here, you can kind of see mostly coming out of this side of the crossbow, which is strange. I'm not sure how it's gonna work just yet, but as you can see, it's shot all the way up in here to a point in the canopy where the hunter is going to escape the fire by being vaulted out into a safe area. Now you see this right here. I want to point out what this looks like, because there are certain points where we're going to see these later. I'm not sure if this is something you need to look for, or if the hunter really is just shooting at anything. And that shape is actually maybe like a grappling hook part of, you know, what has actually been shot, and it's not something naturally growing there. So anyway, from this shot here, we can also see this looks like a part of the environment that is meant to be knocked down, because this time around, Monster Hunter really wants us to not just fight as a hunter, as a human against a giant monster. Be smart, be cunning, use the environment to your advantage, and fight that way, because in actuality, that's the only thing powerful enough to take these things down. You are not strong enough. And I think that's just a brilliant thought that's been put into this. So the hunter either could have been using this to get up to this area up here, maybe to sabotage this to make it drop on the monster, or just purely to escape the attack. But either way, still running from the monster. We still see the glowing bottle right here. That was a very shortcut with the Anjanath behind us. From here, we can see two Remobras. I'm going to call them Remobras. They sure look like them. I'm not certain. Since we have seen the Aptonauts, I kind of want to say that there are other monsters that are small monsters coming back again into this new area. The Anjanath is back here with its wings or frills back open again, however you want to say it, and is busting up right here. This log is about to get destroyed right there, and the debris and even the smoke is all being scattered into the air. The hunter is actually reacting to this too. If this is gameplay or even a cutscene, I don't know, but if that's actually new animations for hunters reacting to things like this, that's amazing. Now, I want to point out something. Look up here. See that? That is the same icon from here. Okay? So that could be a grapple point, or it could actually just be some sort of item that the hunter that just conveniently grappled next to. But, you know, to actually determine where the hunter's going to grapple, because let's program a game here, you need to have certain points where they can go. This could be an indicator of where you can grapple. Obviously, not a good time to try and do that. So, moving on forward, we can see this monster attacking straight through the debris. The color of the ammunition has now changed, by the way, so it is now like a red. I'm not sure if the hunter attacks with this as well, but either way, there it is nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Now with the debris kind of cleaning up, the monster is still biting his way forward. This is the jaw. That's incredibly far open how big this gets. This is probably a gatherable item we're running past really quickly as well. From here, we can see, I think, 2 more grapple points, if that's what these are right here. And the hunter's actually readying something right here with the grapple already. I think what they're going to do, I forget what they're doing right here. They were kind of readying something with it. But we can also see a whole lot more in the background here of how to navigate through this area. There's waterfalls back here. Really beautiful environments that we've seen so far. From here, we can also still see there's the waterfall back here. There is the Anjanath back in the distance, standing back up again. The hunter is reloading, I believe, something with the crossbow, and is now running around this part of the environment, which could have been sabotaged the whole time. So what these these light parts could have been, they could have been shot up there by the hunter in order to maybe detonate after a set amount of time to drop this large piece onto the Anjanath, which is going to happen right here. As you see, it's falling down, though I don't know, that's still lit up there and it's not doing anything. I'm not sure. Also, pay attention, I just saw this. There's something over here in the distance too that doesn't exactly look just like, I'm going to move ahead forward. No, it goes away immediately. We turn the camera and you don't see it anymore. So whatever this is, it's possibly a new monster. Looks like it could have a frill in the front. It doesn't look like those 4-legged creatures, the lizards we've seen before. And it doesn't look like any other small monster I recognize from Monster Hunter Pass. This could be a new monster. I have no idea what that thing is back there. Let me know what you guys think what that creature could be in the comments below. This is also probably going to be another gatherable point. We're going to go a little bit slower, another gatherable point right here. We can see that the whole canopy is now collapsing down on the monster. And I want to point out, the hunter is not using this as an opportunity to attack. The hunter is fleeing this whole time. So it's almost like this is a stealth Monster Hunter game where you are using the environment to fight the creatures and occasionally jump in when you have the upper hand, and only when you have the upper hand, because otherwise it will destroy you, which is probably for the best. Honestly, it's probably for the best. So as you see this, the monster is flinching, and we can kind of see in the distance actually a better shot of these guys. Maybe they are joggies. I kind of see a different kind of frill right here. It's interesting that they were hidden back there because I did not see them while taking these shots. I was actually mainly watching how the Anjanath was reacting right here to the canopy falling down on them. Right there. There's a different shot of the monsters back here in the distance. Still cannot quite make out what they are. Anjanath is now completely fallen, and we cut away. So now from here, you can actually get a really good shot of how the Anjanath's arms look. They're shaped like a mitten, but they're actually really large horns. You're going to see in a bit later where we're going to get a better close-up. So from here, the Anjanath's actually about to leap forward at the hunter using his back legs, like a great Macau kata move, except coming from something that size, no thank you. So from here, we can see he's still leaping his way towards the hunter, and probably destroying certain parts, yes, I want to get to this part later, of the environment as it's going. This part is terrifying. If this is this monster's pin, no thank you. I'm just freaking out from this thing. Like, no thanks. The hunter is in its mouth right now, and not in a good way. There's a leg right there, here's an arm, and here's the face right here. There's also a skeleton of some sort of monster down here in the corner. And there we go. The hunter is now in its mouth. Completely in its mouth. I really think this is a pin, because as you're going to see later, the Anjanath is actually going to throw him. So from here, the hunter is probably struggling. There's probably going to be some sort of UI system right here where the hunter is going to have to fight through trying to get out of here and struggle. As in past games, the Anjanath actually flips you into the air and catches you again. And I want to point out, you can see there was an Octonaut back in the background as well, who was kind of rearing up his tail, kind of like how they are intimidated by the monster, trying to scare them off, but they usually run themselves. Anyway, so the Anjanath catches the hunter very fiercely with all that slobber, piercing him right in his mouth, shakes him around one more time before actually throwing the hunter. But I want to pause right here. You can actually see these small monsters up here respecting almost this larger threat in the room and all hiding up inside of the canopy themselves. So the Octonauts are not only the only ones that are hightailing out of here, these guys are even hiding up in the trees because this thing is a serious threat. Eating the hunter. Completely eating the hunter. Also, there's more things you can shoot down from over here. Looks like some more things you can gather in the background. They are slightly different each time, too. This is probably something to gather bone items with. I'm not sure which kind of monster that is. I can't really identify it by the skeletons just yet. But either way, these guys you can see are barking at this thing. And here he goes, spits you out, throws you on the ground. Fortunately, he doesn't just swallow you. And the hunter gets another chance to continue to fight. So from here, the hunter is actually now climbing up into the canopy. Again, you can kind of see some large mushrooms here. Now, the Anjanath is now blasting some fire from behind. The hunter then takes the opportunity to leap off of the tree and go right back towards the monster. You can see this is the frill area of the Anjanath, and this is the hunter pulling out the greatsword. That's a really good shot right there, showing some of these items, actually, that you can gather or shoot down at the very least from the canopy. Here's the hunter readying the greatsword, really pulling it back real far. And right here, between these two frames, slamming this guy in the face. Wham, the head goes right down. We can also see some sparks even flying right here. There's another gatherer point in the back. And this is a crazy shot. Just seeing like the power of this thing. It just looks so mighty. The glowing eyes just look terrifying. Looks like this hunter is about to pull up an uppercut swing. The hunter is mid-swing right here and clashes with the monster, sending them backward. Lucky shot right there. We all wish that happened more often to us, I know. So, hunter successfully delivers a blow that sends the Anjanath back, gives him a little bit more time to try and flee. Though the fleeing thing may not be a whole aspect of the game, you could be still traditionally monster hunting, in the room. This could be similar to how they showed us a trailer of Monster Hunter 4 when the hunter was really just running from a Tigrex. And that's not the game's new ecology, though this time they really are saying that is part of the new ecology of the game. But still, it could be played, I'm sure, a multitude of different ways. They claim this game is all about the cunning of the player. So the Anjanath is now climbing up and pursuing the player over here. There's probably different gathering parts over here. It looks almost like a sap plant. Hunter's now running even farther, trying to get away from the creature, who is still obviously in hot pursuit. And way faster than you, it seems. What we're standing on right here, I'm not entirely sure. It could be a bone pile or just roots. The Anjanath's getting a lot closer. And this is, I believe, where things get really interesting. So the hunter did a dodge roll, as you see right here, to try and avoid the monster. But lo and behold, Rathalos shows up here in the sky. Now, from each shot of the Rathalos, just to show you guys, I think how amazing the graphics have been increased just for this game in particular, pay attention to Rathalos, because it's something that we know very well of what he looks like, but he's going to look different. As we can see already, the sun is shining through the fabric or the flesh of his wings. You can see the fire simmering through his nose, and he's just in the corner right here. Rathalos, actually, I want to point this out, is doing his midair roar attack, but it's different from normal. It's a slightly different animation. It's something I can't really get in still frames. You guys just watch it, you will see it. This Rathalos is behaving slightly different from normal. And from that, I think it's great incentive or a reason to believe that the animations across the board have been changed. Referencing old ones, because, I mean, we've seen, even in this one, the Anjanath acting like a normal Brute Wyvern, like a Deviljho, being knocked over on his side when the canopy fell. Same animation it looked like. But this Rathalos is doing something very slightly different. So from there, there's a lot of motion going by, so of course the quality is not going to look amazing. So the Rathalos, we get a much closer view of him, and from here we can actually see his face has been slightly redesigned, which I think it looks really nice. Even the patterning looks really, really slick now. The top of the head is actually a little smaller. The eyes are very beady and are closer to the nose, and instead of being like a dark black, they now shimmer white. Let me see the rest of this. Here we go. The detail on this guy is unbelievable. I'm already excited just for like the figure builders of this series. It looks crazy. So from here, I want to get a good shot showing the actual fabric in the wings, because you can see how they roll across him and actually like fold. He's actually readying his talons right now. You can kind of see the shape of the face is a little bit different than it used to be. It's minute, but it's still recognizable. It's not as elaborate as it used to be. Look at the Rathalos on the cover of 3 Ultimate. You can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So Rathalos dives forward with his talons outright, and we can kind of see from here the wings are actually folding. They never really did this. They're not to this degree. They're actually folding really, really nicely. There's dirt and cuts all over his wings. And from here, this is an awesome shot, because we can actually see more of that light coming through the wings, and the wings actually folding. It looks, if he behaves like this in the wild, so realistic. So it looks amazing. So much detail has been put into this that's just being blown by in this trailer. So we can now see the Anjanath right here. The Rathalos has his talons out, and he attacks the Anjanath right here in the face with the talons. Hunter is now visible. We can see more reflections coming through the trees of the light that is being blocked now in the wing. They are still in a bit of a fight. We can see the Rathalos is still attacking. From here, the Hunter is actually running back forwards. The Rathalos' head, here's a good shot of its face to show it looks very different. Almost like more of a serpent's head. It's not having as many of the protruding scales that came out of his face, giving it more of a frill. Now it seems more of like a unique design of a Rathalos for this region, maybe even. Like each monster could be very specific to this area. So from here, it's still attacking, and the Anjanath is now knocked over from this attack. Rathalos now flies up higher and readies a fire attack, which he rears back as the Anjanath now falls to the ground. And this attack we have seen Los do before. He kind of like raises attack his head to the side and just flares that fire out. The Hunter is a little too casually walking away from all of this. You know what's interesting? The Anjanath, I'm now noticing, as it's illuminated, has a bunch of spikes coming out of the back of the tail, very similar to a Deviljho, a monster of the same class, a Brute Wyvern. And it's interesting to say because this monster did behave very similar to a Deviljho and look very similar to a Deviljho. Maybe, you know, very, very closely related to the Deviljho. But either way, the fire obviously blasts the Anjanath back down. The Hunter still very casually ignores this. The fire effects are unreal right here. Anjanath is now down, laying on the ground. The Rathalos is still very much taking over its prey. The Hunter is a little too casual about this. The Anjanath is still alive and kicking down there. Los goes back through it, does another talon attack. And what's really amazing here, if this is straight up gameplay, because they do imply this too, there is a full ecology in this world. Monsters don't just ignore each other and then see a hunter and attack them. That never made any sense. Now, monsters will attack each other, and right now the hunter could be using this as a diversion in order to, because Capcom did imply that you can do this to lure monsters into certain areas you need to fight them in, or maybe a better area to navigate them away from a larger threat. You can use things like this to your advantage to also weaken monsters. So this isn't just a cutscene or anything like that. This is implied gameplay. Capcom has said this is how the game goes. Wow, that is so big. That is so exciting. And that I don't know how to put it in words. So anyway, they're still fighting over here. You can see them in the background. Also, keep an eye on in the background here. We'll look into the sky. The hunter is about to ready something over here. You can see this is a green sort of ammunition, I am assuming, that goes into, that is actually right there struck on the side of the body to ignite it, and is then put into the crossbow. Rathalos is still going to town on that poor Anjanath right there. And this cloud right here actually looked like it was like a jet or something right there. But anyway, so he completely readies the flare and launches it into the air. Now, wow, the light actually affected the canopy as well right here, and is actually reflecting a little bit on the bone sword right here too. So this is shot right up in the air. There's some wildlife up there. I'm not sure what it is. Poor them. They're about to get shot. So from here, we zoom back very rapidly through every area we have seen so far. I didn't take screenshots of it because it would be pointless. But from here, we zoom very far back. You can still see Rathalos through it right here. And as we can see, I'm trying to identify other things back here. There's really not much to see. And then as we zoomed all the way back, we can see the flare is now shot out into the sky right here. And from there, they actually start showing, we can see some Aptonauts out here. And we really get a good shot of the entire world. This place is huge. It is huge. From here, we can also see Aptonauts that are just kind of casually grazing out here in this new open area, this completely different area. The hunter was obviously down in the jungle. So it's possible to try and lure monsters if you wanted to fight them out here in the open, or maybe it was easier to avoid the monster in the lush jungle, and that's why he wanted to lure it that direction, though it was actually being tracked through this trailer. From here, we got the logo that is coming through right here. And also, I want to mention before I forget, the flare that was just sent up. Capcom also mentioned that the flare will be used to call hunters to your location to assist you. And like I said, this could be Japanese players. This could be players on different consoles. This is calling people, well, as far as we know, different consoles in different regions. That's what they've said. This will call people to your location. We will see more of this coming in a bit. But here's the new logo right here. Here's the hunters coming in right now, flying on what looks like Romobras. I can't quite tell, but you can see they're actually grappled to a point on the creatures right here. So they must be domesticated, which is really cool. Bringing that nature and man together for this game. It's like bringing back and revitalizing the original idea from Monster Hunter. So from this point, we get the title reveal of Monster Hunter World. From here, we can still see more of those hunters flying in to assist the other hunter who is in danger. I don't know if there's going to be AI hunters who are going to do the same thing and be that quick to assist you, but who knows? Or also how the flare is really going to work for online. Is it really going to pause gameplay and wait till someone can show up and hunt with you? Who knows? But either way, that's what we got from there. So moving on forward, we got a good viewing showing the clouds even moving. They did mention that there was going to be day and night dynamic changing while you're actually out in the environment, so it's not just always going to be one time, which also means if you go on quests, which they do say, yes, don't freak out, there are quests that you go on in this world, day and night will continuously change, which means there's probably no timeout fails. Maybe. Because in a world like this, it looks like the monsters are so much of a threat, it's not even worth mentioning. Like, don't even think that you're gonna timeout fail. You're gonna get killed, you know? So the hunter is now immediately being cut to a place where they are skidding down a muddy hill, leaping into a new environment, riding on a Remobra themselves right here. Pretty cool. Kind of, I'm not sure if you're gonna navigate this yourself in order to try and find where the hunter or the flare went off yourself, but either way, there it is. You still flying here. There's another shot, this is interesting, of a possible enraged Anjanath attacking the hunter through what looks like a natural dam or a reservoir built up from a lot of water back here, where the hunter is actually struggling to walk through, The Anjanath is destroying it while attacking the hunter, or attacking towards the hunter, but releasing a deluge of water, which then swarms both of you down a cliff. Now, there's so much that's already implied in that, like, how interactive is this world? Look at the beautiful water that's, oh gosh, it's unbelievable. So, now from here, I want to take a look in the background first, before we take a look at this brand new monster right here, because here we go, guys, every time I go to a new frame, take a look. This is a Rathalos, in-game, flying in the background. I can almost guarantee you it is a Rathalos from what I can see from the patterning on the wings as it flies by. There's also this in the distance, I can't quite identify, probably a different area, but still, Rathalos is up here, and as we can see right here, the hunter is now crouching to try and avoid the attention of this thing, which appears to be a large version of the smaller leopard-looking reptile creatures we saw in the beginning. I don't know why I said leopard, but they kind of stand like that, you know what I mean? So this thing actually swallows an Aptonoth whole. That is the tail of an Aptonoth right here. Rathalos still flying by in the background. There's the tail up in the air. This thing is enormous, if it really is just going to swallow things whole like that. Maybe that would be a good opportunity to try and attack it, because it would be lethargic after eating something so large, but I don't know. That's all part of the ecology. Clearly, this hunter is not interested right now. So, moving on forward, you can still see the Los flying by in the distance. Cutting now to a new shot right here. You can see the hunter just threw a flash bomb, or a flash grenade at the Anja. I'm messing his name up. I tried saying it enough times so I can remember. Anjanath in the background here. And the hunter is also reacting to the light while running away. This scene right here is possible that it is another pin, because of how slow the Anjanath was actually moving for here. And good lord, is it a terrifying little bit. The hunter is just so okay with this. Oh, the light even shining in its eyes. The detail in this is just unreal. We can see a couple different gathering points in the background other than that, but at this point, I mean, we're kind of getting used to them. I was trying to identify what they all look like. Here, the hunter is about to shield off an attack from the Anjanath right here. This is a different gathering point over there. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe some ripened mushrooms. Right there, the attack was deflected. Anjanath still roars, and the hunter is sent sailing backwards. From here, this is an interesting shot that went by really quick. I didn't notice the first 3 times I watched this. The hunter is now sneaking past the Anjanath while sleeping. What's important here is the hunter is still wearing the camouflage from the beginning, which implies that it actually could be scent-based too, because that might wake up the monster, or it would notice that you're here. The detailing in the scales is just crazy. From here, we can actually see bubbles coming straight out of the nostrils of the monster right here. A very, very nice touch showing the monster sleeping. From here, we can see some Aptonoths in the background as the hunter is now once again mounting the Anjanath. This is a great shot showing right here the hunter attacks the nose and breaks that frill part of the Anjanath, of the nose. So that's really interesting, and you can see the parts actually shattering right there. Very cool. So that implies, like I was saying before, based on where you attack or jump on a monster, it's possible that it can help you damage certain parts by attacking continuously there. I'm not sure, but that's just what it implies. This next short segment is amazing. Here we're actually seeing the hunter backing up while rapid fire shooting a bowgun. This is pretty crazy, because like the hunter is moving and walking while rapid firing a bowgun. Sure, the Anjanath is approaching and munching his way forward, but the bowgun alone, that is impressive. That is really impressive, because I mean, like, why wouldn't you be able to walk during that? So it's like changing how the bowgun can be used, and it's firing so fast that, like, wow, it looks like a lot of fun to use. Like, I've got to try bowgun in this game as well. Moving on from there, as we saw, we had a great shot of Rathalos. Take a look at the folding fabric of his wings right here and how it's reacting to the light as well. His whole mouth is glowing. It just looks amazing right there. He's rearing up as he normally does to shoot a big fire blast right at the screen, as he always loves to do for Monster Hunter trailers. As we can see, some more of that folding fabric looks amazing. Monster Hunter's like finally dealing with some awesome graphics right now. He's rearing up again. Here's an awesome shot right here we got, and he's about to shoot the fire forward, and there he goes, right there. Awesome. And we can get some more detailed shots showing how the actual anatomy of his mouth works if you're curious. And boom, early 2018 is all they've said for us at the end of this, which is the announced confirmed time for, I'm going to get to this part in a bit, for the PS4 and the Xbox One. And of course, like I said, the PC version will be coming at a later date. That's all they told us. So from here, they cut to showing the Hunter using a new version of a grill, which is actually pretty interesting. Right here, these parts all shoot out in different directions. These come forward and lean down to the side, so I guess for compact delivery and walking around with this. And then Hunter places it on here. Also, pay attention to the background. I'm still looking at this up here, not sure what that is. And the Hunter then obviously starts to cook the meat. As detailed as it looks and amazing it is, I'm curious, like, is stamina even going to be the same anymore? I mean, there's so many changes they've done here, and I'm excited about all of them. I can't see anything that I'm not excited about for this new game, and I just spent over an hour just talking about in detail what the trailer was showing us here. There's so much that this is saying. I'm so excited. I'm so glad to get to talk with you guys about this. So either way, I'm even losing my voice from all this, but either way, that is all we have to look at this new bits for trailer from Monster Hunter World. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below if I missed anything in the trailer. But either way, that is all time I have for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like the videos and subscribe for more, and I will see you all in Monster Hunter World. Booyah!